it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. And I'm going to give a huge shout out to those of you who have recently donated to the channel. Once again, thank you so much. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to curate and provide this content to you. And I really want to address some viewer questions because we have been off the air for a couple of weeks while I was in recovery mode here and really relaxing for the cervical recovery. So thank you so much for bearing with us and staying tuned. And I appreciate your viewership so much. And I want to address another great viewer question that came in. And it's very highly sensitive in nature about what happens when you really are at the end of your rope. You might even be having suicidal thoughts. You know, you might be feeling just the worst of all things. Things really begin to slip your grip, so to speak. And I do not work with, that specific area, but I do want to assist you with some helping you to turn it around in terms of understanding that that is a passing moment, and to realize that that oftentimes is a feeling as a reaction, once again, that is letting you know it's time for you to begin to see the value of where you're at in your life. And those can be very scary for those people, just like also a same very intense state when people feel angry all the time and they have this feeling and they don't know how to get rid of it. It can be overwhelming, just like insomnia. You kind of feel like things are out of kilter. So sometimes, you do need to look at either your diet or what you're doing, how much stress is going on in your life that is creating that. It's a sense of kind of extreme fear, or, your story is not matching up where you want to be in life. In other words, it is my feeling, in my experience along my journey, that people who have those feelings, it's because their story, i.e. what they feel their life should be, is not in congruency. In other words, they don't see themselves in this job. They don't see themselves in this living condition. They don't see themselves alone. In other words, their story that they have for themselves, it's not a match with their current reality. So you need to identify, whoa, that's what's giving me these extreme thoughts of desperation, of feeling lonely or isolated or super angry. It's because oftentimes there's not a match there, and then you're looking for the cause or how to correct it. So the way to correct it then is to change your story. In other words, it's to look around. You're exactly where you should be for a purpose, and divine intelligence is there with you. So you need to just have, an experience of faith and to say, okay, that was my story. It's, causing me too much intense anxiety. Let's get back to the drawing board. This is where I am. And then beginning to have a sense of peace, safety, and gratitude, and saying, hey, where I'm at actually is okay. Do I still have 2 feet? We see so many advertising now. I've noticed as of recent, there are so many advertisements with people who have lost their limbs in battles of war. Here in the United States, there's a lot of advertising that centers around TV programs, etc. And I've noticed, so there's really kind of a surge to giving awareness, love, and compassion to those, who are, it's the full gamut of life. People who have had diseases, surgeries, things that have, caused them to feel handicapped. It's looking at the whole of life and saying, okay, this is the fabric that I am part of, but it's still a beautiful thing. It's seeing the beauty in moving forward despite what you feel is desperation. So oftentimes you need to calm down. The racing thoughts, the feeling of oppression, the feeling of worthlessness, or that your story, it's like, okay, let's let that go. Let's let that anxiety go, and, letting that intensity go. It might take a moment, and you might need to expunge it. You might need to go for a walk and just, kind of let it go. But look at what is causing that to bottle up. Because oftentimes it's a bottled up feeling. In other words, you're allowing it a need an adjustment of your story. In other words, are you being realistic with yourself? Are you being compassionate to yourself? Are you trying to tell yourself you should be a gazillionaire by age 30 and it hasn't happened yet? I find that most people who are at that state, it's because they have, worked up a huge goal or a huge grandiose plan for themselves that really is not attainable. So it's like getting kind of coming down, getting a little bit more grounded on where is, where you are oftentimes is a beautiful place, but you can't see it. You can't see all that you have going for you because you're caught up in a story that is blown out of proportion, or, and needs to be tempered down, needs to be toned down, needs to be kind of sculpted down a little bit more to your own potentiality, what is actually real and authentic for you, and get a grip and get gratitude for that. And look at just the whole, of society while you're doing that. Allow yourself to calm down and really look at, your story as well as the story of others and what others have had to endure or experience. You can look at where you live and have gratitude for the natural beauty, the safety, what you actually have right now. Oftentimes people don't see the fact that they have, I need a new pair of shoes. Well, what if you actually needed 2 new limbs? It's really taking things, seeing what you have and not taking things for granted. Beginning to say, wow, my safety is priceless. I have things that are priceless in my life. And looking at your life with that sense of new nostalgia, what I call like a new self-recognition or a sense of nostalgia or charm about your life. So begin to look with heart and charm about your current position and begin to have kind of a self-endearing quality that you can really adhere to, that is special and unique about you, that makes you your own hero, and that you've witnessed to your own miracles in your life, and then call those forth and remember how those have happened and begin to kind of get back on that track, because it's the other wavelength which is like taking you away, so begin to calm your mind down into a slower brainwave, get into a sense of gratitude, which is powerful, and look into just some of the new things that you can actually realistically temper down your goals. So, chopping out or getting rid of those inflated goals or sort of, things that oftentimes have been imprinted by earlier relationships or too high standards that aren't able to be attained. Bring your standards down. What can you change today that can help you match your story? So if you want to, if you're unhappy with where you live, well, begin to take, radical honest assessment. Is it really that bad, or is it actually just perfect? Or if it's really not good, then what are some steps? If that is my key goal, what can I do to get to my next step? What are my next marching orders? And then beginning to take action there, but getting realistic. I find that oftentimes the people have too intense overreaction to the situations in their life. Their story is overinflated to what is realistic or appropriate for them. And oh my God, I have a major itch. Oh, wee. There we go. That's taken care of. So begin to do that, and then temper down. Begin to, breathe deeply. Just calm your thoughts down, and let's let those go. And if you need serious intervention, then seek serious intervention. You need to call a hotline, or you need to get with some people who can help ground you and ground yourself. And getting, again, taking some things to beautify your environment and get healing relationships going, saying, what, I really need a support system. I'm going to find a spiritual center in my area. I'm going to find a religious organization in my area. I'm just going to go, and I'm just going to be. And if it's not fulfilling, well, then you learned. And then, so it's learning then, well, then what is fulfilling for me? Do I just need to read? What can I take part in to help calm those feelings down? And what realistic adjustments can I make? Getting real with yourself and saying, okay, this is where I've been unreal. Here is where I can get real. And this is actually within my it's tempering that down. It's saying, okay, and it's oftentimes those overinflated goals are from a sense of inferiority, or, a inferiority complex that someone like me will not be accepted because of this, that, or the other thing. So oftentimes it's stories you're telling yourself that are creating that over intense reaction, and getting real, getting balanced, okay, getting back into, what is the right size for you, a good fit, stopping the overreacting, realizing that that is an overreaction. And oftentimes, if people do have really profound, overreaction or rage or these feelings, you might definitely go and talk to a local healthcare professional about it. Don't be ashamed. There's all sorts of assistance that they can give you in your local area. So, but oftentimes those can be worked through with time. But if it's very intense, say, hey, go to your local primary care physician and say, I need some help. Oftentimes people don't even know those 3 words, I need help. Or 4 words, I need some help. I need some help with this. Begin to articulate that. It's so difficult. Some people for that period of time, you might need to go and see a specialist to really work through it. So that is my recommendation. Go ahead and utilize those local resources. But oftentimes, if you can't manage it, that is the indicator. If it's manageable, then you've got it. If it's unmanageable, then seek medical assistance. I mean, that's kind of where you should be determining. And I hope this little discussion helps. It's your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. And I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.